Our second example is coming from a famous World Championship match between Karpov and Kasparov played in 1984. This is their first World Championship match. This is his famous World Championship match that never finished. That was stopped by result 5-3 for Karpov, and then they played another match, and then Kasparov later became a world champion. We have diagram position. White is obviously having attack, because white has this bishop which is only temporarily closed. I mean, this knight is not really closing. This is a strong bishop. White has a passed pawn. This bishop on g2 is also a very good piece, controlling this diagonal. Knight on b3 can easily join the fight. Knight d4, knight f5, and this knight is tremendous piece. So knight d4, knight c6. Black pieces, on the other hand, are in this position. Let's look at the black pieces. Black pieces are a bit stranded. This bishop on a6 is doing nothing. This bishop on a3 is doing nothing. So here's two bishops which are basically doing nothing. Yes, this knight is sort of a good piece, very strong piece, but okay, knight on its own cannot really decide the battle. White Kasparov has a choice. Two actually most logical moves, the decision to make for him to trade or not to trade the queens. If he wants to, he can play move queen d4 and trade queens. Because, well, queen will need to be taken. Because after queen d4, I mean, he does threaten, let's say, queen takes a7, and also, well, I have this pressure on diagonal, so it will need to be taken. But second option is to keep the queens on the board. Why? Well, hoping to have an attack. In a very unusual situation, a feeling for initiative, in this case, lets Kasparov down. And this is, does not happen so often. Kasparov always had a, well, always, almost always, obviously not always, otherwise he would not make a mistake here, but almost always, great feeling for initiative. And this feeling for initiative will in this game let him down, and he will ultimately lose the game. He made here a mistake to trade the queens, playing move queen d4. Let's see first what happens if he does not trade the queens. If he played, let's say, move queen f3. Black is here not in a good shape, because black cannot move any single piece. What is white's threat if you give me a move? If you give me a move, I will, let's say, push d6. Why? Because queen cannot move, because queen is defending the knight. So what is logical move? Well, logical move is to take a pawn. This is move somehow which looks extremely logical. You grab this pawn and you threaten to take a rook. This is something which makes a lot of sense. The problem is that it is losing by force. Rook e4, rook lift, and now there is no really good move. Because if you play a move like, let's say, queen d6, it happens bishop h3, rook d8, and now there are various moves here. For example, one rather flashy move which wins is move rook e6. This flashy move wins because queen is hit and bishop is hit, and you cannot take a rook, because if you take a rook, you are going to, well, you're going to run into mate. Check, and okay, you simply run into mate. Nothing to be done there. So this is one flashy move which wins, rook e6. A move bishop g7 also, by the way, wins. King g7, and now knight comes with a amazing power into the game. Move, well, go after move rook e4. a move queen f8 also does not help, because white simply storms the barricades, plays move bishop g7, and now the only way not to get mated is to take by queen and to lose the queen, and still has a weak king and lose the game later on. So this is one of the unusual moments where somehow feeling for initiative did let Kasparov down, something which indeed in his career did not happen very often. Maybe it could be the case also that on a move like queen f3 that he was maybe worried about move knight takes d5 perhaps, but then again after a move like, let's say, rook e4, there is no really clever move, because queen is hanging and I have all the sorts of threats. Then threat on g7, and also knight would be hanging. There are no mates because this knight is protecting c1 square, so there is no mate. No reason to be worried about this. And black is simply here losing. White has a winning attack after move queen f3. Let's see what happened in the game. Kasparov played move queen d4. Queen takes, knight a2. Okay, now situation is not equally easy, because white is having this attack, is pawn down, but he did trade queens, which makes the whole situation more difficult to handle. Now, difficult decision where to jump with the knight. This knight can jump to, obviously knight needs to jump. Can jump to c6 or can jump to f5. Tough call. From c6, knight controls many squares, almost like this octopus of Botvinnik in a previous game. But from f5, knight is also hitting on g7. In this particular case, it was better to play move knight f5. And after bishop b4, let's say rook e2, rather strong move, rook e2, using the fact that this rook needs to protect the back rank, to protect the weak king. So rook e2, knight c1, because rook c1 will not help. Now only king is in trouble because of back rank problems. So knight c1, let's say rook e4. Rook again is coming via e4, just like if queens were on the board. Let's say knight e3, bishop f1. And now he drops a piece. So that means that after knight f5, black would be in a serious trouble still. Kasparov plays move knight c6, and this is he's going to let his advantage slip. Bishop c5, bishop h3, rook a8. Well, white cannot push his d-pawn. And in order to push his d-pawn, Kasparov plays move bishop d4. But this is another trade. One more trade. So slowly but surely attacking pieces are disappearing. And white's initiative is losing its momentum. Bishop takes, knight takes, king f8, d6, well, this pawn is the only trump. Knight c3, but knight is now coming into play. Knight c6, bishop e7, bishop g2, rook e8. Now it's clear that this pawn will get nowhere. Knight e5. Now comes good move. f6, d7, rook d8, bishop takes b7, f takes e5. A beautiful initiative of white has gone forever, gone with the wind. Bishop c6, trying to hang on to this pawn, but now there is no more dynamics in the position, and black will take this pawn. King e7. e4 was, by the way, also a possible move. But king e7, Karpov is playing it very well. Bishop takes b5, because if you don't take bishop b5, I will play move king d6, and I will take this pawn for free. So bishop takes b5 to enter inferior rook ending. Knight takes b5, rook e5. King d7, rook a5, king c6. Rook h5, h6, rook e5, rook a8. Well, now this pawn is simply running. This is a problem. We have equal material, but black has tremendous passer. Rook a5 was played, king b6, rook a2, a5. Black has obvious advantage here, very large advantage, and Karpov did manage to win descending. We will not play until the end of descending because this is DVD with, which has to do with the middle games, and this technical ending took quite some time, but Karpov managed to bring it home. So we have seen in this game that here white had tremendous attack, winning attack, but a number of pieces got traded and ultimately led to white's disaster. And the first wrong step in a direction was to trade queens, instead of playing move queen f3 and getting winning attack. Second mistake was here, wrong knight jump. So this is interesting, one of the few examples where actually having initiative in this position, having winning initiative, Kasparov let his feeling for initiative to let him down.